nataka watuambie zile serikali ingine walifanya kazi gani.
Venye tunaongea saizi guys, mambo yameharibikia Rais William Samoei Arap Ruto. Ile hasira wabunge walikuwa nayo ya kuimpeach President William Ruto, now wameamua kupunish President William Ruto by impeaching Duale. And guys, mimi nashindwa Raila Odinga ako na problem gani? Baada ya Raila Odinga kublock impeachment ya Johnson Sakaja, amekimbia blocking impeachment ya Duale. Juu nao unafaa uelewe hii lineup ya ma CSS ambao William Ruto alijaribu kuappoint. Kumbuka hiyo lineup iliundwa na Raila Odinga pamoja na President William Samoei Arap Ruto. So now Duale akienda kuwa impeached, then ita sound vibaya mbele ya Raila Odinga and mbele ya President William Samoei Arap Ruto. Na hiyo ndio kitu William Ruto hawezi kubalia iweze kufanyika akiwa na Raila Amolo Odinga. But now wabunge wamejam kwamba we are going to impeach this man. Nono watu wangu, Johnson Sakaja alikuwa anaenda kuwa impeached. Si eti kwa sababu alikuwa ananunua guns Nairobi County kuattack Gen Zs. No. Because Johnson Sakaja change Nairobi County to be like Busia County. Nikizungumzia kuhusu Busia County ni county maskini hapa nchini Kenya. Ukiangalia Nairobi County, nataka uangalie hii analysis ya huyu jamaa venye amejaribu kuanalyze the reason why Johnson Sakaja alikuwa awe impeached kufikia saa hii. Angalia.
My fellow Kenyans, my fellow East Africans, my fellow Africans, you know, former Prime Minister said, and I thought that he was right, and I agree with him. I still think that that point is valid. But you know, he speaks, and then he acts in a different way. You know, we want the real Raila Odinga to stand up. I think the man has shown us that we were lucky by circumstance that he is not president. Because if he was, can you imagine what would happen to this country? You probably just, you know, now we see the real him. You know, power actually brings you out. And when you come to the end of the line and you didn't get the power, you also show who you are. So yesterday, the president, we know who he is. You know, at least President Ruto, the one thing we have is we know he's consistent about his business as usual style. But the guy who dotted himself with the liberation struggle stuff, Mr. Odinga, was yesterday bamboozling the same thing he said the other day. He said, we should let the MCAs deal with the governors. Well, the MCAs of Nairobi County want to deal with Mr. Sakaja, who, on his reign, this is what's going on. Look, that's raw sewage. See that? Right next to a mosque. Right there. This is raw sewage. I'm going to get rid of that when I'm MP. I'm going to get rid of all these things. Because I'm going to raise hell. There'll be marches to the city council. Oh yes, there'll be civil and political marches unknown. We're going to elect MCAs in Langata who are going to do their job. Not go over there and make money. Just make money. That's what has been going on. And Langata, and especially South Sea, has become a disaster. Just look. Just look. This is one of the poshest places in Nairobi. It used to be, I was born here. None of these people who are MCAs or these things were born here. They're from Mandera, from Eldoret, from other places. But my grandfather was born here. Look. Now they've demolished everything here. The houses are being built in the corners of junctions. Look, he's the one who's giving permits. There is another one. Here is normal housing, and then look there. Look, you see that? That's Sakaja giving them a carte blanche. turning this neighborhood into a disaster. You can see the sewage down there, right? That's sewage. So the MCAs are going to deal with Mr. Sakaja and said that you're destroying this. If you go up to Kilimani, you'll be shocked. Nairobi has become a dumpster. Lo and behold comes Mr. Odinga.
And Raila Odinga akakimbia blocking impeachment ya Johnson Sakaja. Na nimeona Beatrice Elacha akisema kwamba wana congratulate Raila Amolo Odinga for doing what? For bringing what? Peace between Johnson Sakaja and MCS wa Nairobi County. Unaona watu wangu, kumaanisha wao wanasema kwamba Raila Odinga anajaribu ku make sure Nairobi County imekuwa stable. Unaona watu wangu. So now Nairobi County kuwa stable, itakuwaje stable wakati ambapo Kenyans wanaibiwa doo zao? Wakati ambapo county ya Nairobi inaendelea kudidimia, itakuwaje stable? Huyu ni Beatrice Elachi.
When you destabilize Nairobi, you destabilize Kenya. The members of parliament from Nairobi City County stand in solidarity with our governor Sakaja Johnson during this simmering period of turbulence. While we pray and hope that dialogue is given a chance, we want to thank our county assembly members and to appreciate that they've agreed to do dialogue. It is increasingly becoming clear that attempts of removal of elected governors from office by impeachment has become more common, and in many instances by speculative constitutional organs, without realizing when you're in mid-term of any election or in mid-term of any term of those in elected office, it's very difficult to realize what you would wish to realize. And so it's very critical to destabilize instead of...
Hawa ndo watu wanajaribu kumaliza economy ya Kenya. So now tunaangalia upande wa Aden Duale. Kitu ya kwanza, Aden Duale amerealize ya kwamba hawa wabunge wako serious. They are now going to impeach me. Kitu ya kwanza amekimbia upande wa Western after PR. Unaona watu wangu, juu alisikia Edwin Sifuna akisema nini? They are now going to make sure amekuwa impeached ili waweze kupunish President William Ruto. Kabla tusikize ensure umelike video na nasema thanks for your great support. Nyinyi ni watu wa nguvu zaidi. Kuna hii story tu kidogo kabla usikize Aden Duale. Willis Otieno anajaribu speaking in Spice FM.
If it were true that there are institutions which are working as required by law, even on the question of Sakaja, we will have seen EACC going to look at the body of evidence that the MCS had. Fine, we agree, politically you don't want to impeach him, but we still have a duty to make sure that there is no acts of corruption. The allegations in your petition, in your motion, are raising issues of corruption. And they will conduct the investigations. But we'll also ask them, where were you in the first place when this happened? Because EACC is an independent constitutional commission. It must carry out its investigations independent even of the assembly. If the assembly picked this up, where was EACC not to have picked it up from the beginning? And where are they now? Same as Barchok, not Barchok, Kawira Mongaza. Same as the gentleman for Kericho. Where was EACC? We were being shown pictures of a classroom sorry, that they claimed was renovated at the cost of 2 million. I mean, even my doghouse. Doghouse is much better than that classroom, but it's not worth 2 million. So what I'm simply saying is, even when these issues are raised, we are not seeing EACC acting. But I don't even wish they wait for the issues to be raised. They should be proactive.
But you see, Willis, EACC, as independent as it is, there's some success stories that we read from. I mean, if you're looking at statistics, for example, how much, in terms of convictions, they've secured convictions.
Small
recovered.
Fish.
I mean, these are reports.
No, I'm asking small fish.
From small, so
they
small
busted
fish,
police
big
officers
fish.
collecting bribes.
Small fish.
I want to give you. Let me just tell you something. A story that somebody one day told me, a policeman. that when you see a traffic police officer, normally when they go out to conduct police duties, you are told given a target that you must arrest 500 people or even 50 people.
That day.
So what some of these police officers do, they will go and stop a matatu. 2 matatus, these ones that carry 28 people. He goes early in the morning, stops 5 of them, or even 3, takes all of them to the police station, book them and charge them for the offense of not having a seatbelt on a moving vehicle. The numbers are 62. His target was 50. That is, he done it by 9 o'clock, he's finished it. So you gave him a target of 50. If you look at the book, he's arrested 50 people this day.
So to what end?
No. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You gave him a target of 50.
Yes.
He's just gone to the road, stopped 2 Nganyas, and he has these 62 accused persons. He's met his target, he can now go and do his other things. So also, yes, is he giving you these reports? It's not about reports. It's about service to the people.
But service is
And
getting the
service to
small
people
fish
should
and the
be-
big fish.
No. Don't say that you're going to give us reports of a policeman who was arrested getting 50 shillings
On the road.
on the road.
No, but
when we can all see county assemblies have raised issues of corruption in their executives, and you've done nothing about it.
That's an interesting point, Dennis, if you'll allow me. Because yesterday I was telling these the guys that I was watching the proceedings of the Senate Public Accounts Committee. And the amount of money that we see unexplained for certain things, and at the end of it, or the chairperson of the committee said, you know what, there are some things that are inexplicable. We can't see, and it's very clear that if you said 104 million shillings was spent, we should be able to see it in the accounts that this money was spent at the county level. The governor, who is the chief accounting officer, as the chief executive of the county, should then be able to explain some of these things. Now, in the inability to explain, we have no option, right, but to now recommend that the EACC picks this up and does something about it, because we've done an audit. We've given a window period for the right of reply. We've not received anything substantial in terms of explainer. So, as far as we are concerned, that money was either lost or it was stolen. Period. EACC then would pick it up. But this is a day in, day out process that this committee has. There is always money missing. There's somebody who must explain. Control of budget tells us one thing. Auditor General tells us another thing. Meanwhile, the Auditor General is in those meetings. Is in those committee meetings, hundreds of millions of shillings day in, day out. If the EACC, based on what you were saying, were serious about really picking up on some of these things, wouldn't we actually see through and through that there were more in terms of pickups of some of or at least the very public questioning about where these monies go? Would we not see that?
We will see it, but they're not interested. Because to them, they answer to legacy politicians. And I want to take you back to what Dennis was saying. Now you've arrested this policeman who takes 50 shillings by the roadside every day. How many lives are lost from that process or at risk? Whereas you have a contractor and a county official or a national government official to whom they've embezzled 500 million Kenya shillings. You see, that's why I will be more interested in if you're giving me quantum of numbers. Tell me the ones whose acts of corruption pose a greatest threat to the life of Kenyans. I'm not saying the policeman taking 50 shillings should be exonerated, but you cannot bring for me the policeman as the success story with his 50 shillings. I want my success story to be the one that has most impact. The greatest threat came from these people who are holding high offices.
So, for example, EACC, on the Ferdinand Wetitu case, the allegations was 588 million to companies linked to his family and associates. Governor Sonko, 357 million. Governor Obado, 73 million. Kenya Pipeline Company scandals, 1.9 billion. This is still EACC. National Youth Service NYS scandal, 791 billion. Then you've got former CS Henry Rotich, the Aurora and Connerd dams 63 billion scandal. ESCC has done all these things. There's the amounts that they in their report. I don't represent them, really. Don't look at me like that. I'm just reading her report. They say these are amounts that that they have recovered and the cases that they've handled. The question then is, from the reading of all this, the political influence and all these things, they don't have prosecution powers.
Yes.
So can you then give them some latitude that, hey, okay.
You know, when ESCC says we don't have prosecution powers, and yet when these charges are taken to court, they are the IOs, the holders of the file. It's not even the DPP. The DPP will have given the approval to charge.
Yes.
I want you to go, especially as lawyers we see it, when you go to the details of the charges that ESCC have preferred some of these cases, you can see this is a system that is set up to collapse from the beginning. In the entire list you mentioned, only where it was a conviction. Yeah, but they're reporting it that he was charged. But where's the conviction? Akuda? Only where it. Don't just tell us that you've charged somebody in court. They'll tell you you've charged them this and they give you a very huge sum. I'll give you the example of Natembeya. When ESCC released their statement on Natembeya, do you know how much they indicated as the amount of money that was at risk, that was stolen? 2 billion. When we went to court, the conflict of interest was 1.2 million. Yeah.
It's actually, I agree with Willis, because I heard for the first time.
It's 100 times the difference.
Yes, I agree. I listened to the ODPP Ngonga in a meet, I think it was in Mombasa, if I'm not wrong. I was watching this soundbite and I said, wait a minute. Because our reporter, I think, asked him questions around these things. And he said, look, the problem is the file that is brought to him or to his office is what Willis is saying. Then when they're trying to tie in the figures to evidence, then they realize the amount is so small, they don't have a case.
Okay, I'm sorry. When we were in university, unknown concepts are now made known to you when the lecturer comes into class and he says, this is the case, right? Because you don't know, you are learning. By the time you enter into an institution, such as the ODPP, you are either you're most likely a lawyer who is trained on some of these matters. By the time it gets and you're telling us that we cannot link evidence to the amount of money that we are saying stolen, why would you mention it in the first place? Why would you say 2 billion shillings? Do you just decide it's a Tuesday and 2 billion shillings sounds nice? Or shouldn't you actually say, we have investigated, we have found that 104 million shillings was missing and we have tied it to this piece of evidence. And so now based on all of that, I put it down on a sheet and I say, here is the evidence, here is the money that's missing. We have confirmed with the Auditor General, and indeed, this was supposed to be, it was not. And we see discrepancies here, and here. Because me, who I can only just spell the law. But if you were to bring it to me, I would say it is very clear that you don't know what you're talking about if you say 1.2 billion is missing and you cannot show me the evidence.
That's exactly what they do.
Why would you do that knowing very well that a judicial officer at the end of the process is going to throw the thing out for lack of evidence?
That is why I tell you that public statement that they issue is to hoodwink, gaslight the members of the public that we are doing something. Here, we are arresting Natembeya 2.5 billion. Then when we appear in court the next day, 1.2 million. They don't even come with that their statement that they issued to the public. Why?
But surely you must know.
That's why it tells you. This was nothing to do with fighting corruption.
So you're saying it's intentional sabotage?
You cannot tell me that today in the evening, I release a statement saying, I'm going to charge in two for an act of 2.5 billion corruption. One the day before in the evening. The next day in the morning, you appear in court with charge sheets reading 1.2 million. It is less than 24 hours, my friend. There is no way that you can say that was a typo, it was a mistake. That is intentional. And as I've told you, look at, for example, why was it targeted? The timing. is running amok with his Tawe movement in Western Kenya. There is a political hand somewhere pushing EACC, put a break to this young man's
or give it a bit of a bump.
Yeah.
Because it is clear that if you have 2 billion the night before, 1.2 million the next morning, you as a legal mind are aware that the judicial officer will throw the thing out because of lack of everything. You know this.
And while at it, as you arrive in the morning with the 1.2 million, you are even telling the court, I need more time to conclude my investigations. So don't allow him to go back to his office for 60 days. In fact, hold him in custody.
And take his passport.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And anybody who thinks that this is a fight against corruption, it is not. With these institutions have been captured by legacy politicians. They are used for political organization. I need to sort out my Datembea, go and sort out for me Barchok, go and sort out for me Kawira Mwangaza, go and sort out for me Waititu, who is now with Wiper and moving around with Kalonzo. It's got nothing to do with fighting corruption. And we must say it for what it is.
And you see, this also takes us back to, if you remember in 2022, once the government took power, the one thing that we saw happen a lot was individuals who had cases in court. All these cases were withdrawn and thrown out due to insufficient evidence. And as you now speak in terms of, Dennis, you trust those institutions, you don't. I think I also join you in that bandwagon. Because then again, you find this is a situation where a case has been taken to court because there is an evidence. Then the ODPP, the same office that took these people to court, comes back and tells us we do not have sufficient evidence. What are we doing?
And they apply for the charges to be withdrawn. The same DPP who took them to court. In this country, where I sit, I can say it authoritatively. The criminal justice system only works against the poor people. That poor policeman taking 50 shillings. That poor man who cannot afford a lawyer. Those are the ones, when it comes to public corruption, those are the ones that it works against. But these big fish, these legacy politicians, it doesn't work. It is used purely to pursue and to settle political scores.
If we continue with that, here every day, it's almost become Okari's pet project. The Auditor General is giving us numbers every day. 3.7 billion shillings lost in education. I don't know, ghost schools receiving
And that's why tunasema ya kwamba EACC imekuwa captured. Juu wakati ambapo Johnson Sakaja alikuwa anaenda kuwa impeached, then MCS waka sound tena kwamba wao wamejaribu kusimamisha impeachment ya Johnson Sakaja, EACC ingeingililia pale. Unaona watu wangu na kuanza kufuatilia ni nini nilikuwa mbaya pale. But now EACC imekuwa captured by William Samoei Arap Ruto's government. And that's why haiwezi fanya anything. Unaona? Na hiyo ni sector independent. Unaona guys? Na ndio tunasema ya kwamba hii serikali ya William Ruto must be a one-term government. Unaona guys? Now, tunaangalia Aden Duale. Aden Duale amejua tu anaenda kuwa impeached. Bado anakimbia pale speaking kwamba wale ambao wanajaribu kutumia St. Mary's ili kumimpeach, yeye amesha sort out.
The pending bill of NHIF are in two categories. And this pending bill of NHIF is why we had to close NHIF and start SHA. Because it was a den of corruption. It is where patients' money was being stolen, where people were building their wealth using patients' money. And it's immoral and unconstitutional, and we will not allow it going forward. So, anybody with a pending bill of NHIF from 1 shilling to 10 million, totaling 5.3 billion, accounting for 92% of the entire NHIF bill. As a government, on the direction of the president, we will pay in the next 2 months. We are only waiting for the National Treasury to introduce a supplementary budget, and we put the 5.3. St. Mary Hospital from where we sit has not been closed by SHA, has not been closed by the regulator, Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Council. Their license is valid, has not been closed by the Digital Health Agency that controls the system. So from where we sit, St. Mary Hospital has all the valid licenses from all our agencies. So those who are peddling in funerals and want to use St. Mary, I am telling them here from Kakamega, this weekend you better look for something else.
We've had a very fruitful meeting, and the SHA team has confirmed that in the next 2 weeks they'll be disbursing 100 million with regard to the pending bills which relate to our level 5 facilities, as well as an analysis of what is pending for level 4s that are 15 in number and level 2s. I know our Lord Bishop will give the story of St. Mary's for purposes of just making a clarification, but I want to take this opportunity in a special way to thank the Ministry of Health, because out of the claims which were submitted from our facilities for level 3s and level 4s, we have so far received level 2 and level 3s. We have received 75 million Kenya shillings, and what is pending is 72 million. For level 4, we have received 119 million. What is pending is 55 million. Level 5, which is CGH, we have received 250 million, and what is pending is 166, and the first 100 million will be received by the 14th of this month. I want to, in a special way, thank the ministry for making sure that this SHA registration is rolled out in Kakamega County, as well as honoring the claims which have been submitted, because the claim submission before the payment is done, there's a verification process which has basically been ongoing.
We've agreed, and I confirm that so far from December of 2024 to August of 2025, the SHA has disbursed a total of 98,671,567. And these have been disbursed across, spread over the months that we have had. We have, believe, a pending payment of 35 million claims, 35 million that we expected from SHA, and that's what we believe that will help us to be able to clear the arrears of the workers.
Sasa kwa sababu William Ruto amefungua vita dhidi ya kanisa Katoliki, wanakataa kulipa hospitali kama St. Mary's, wanalipa hospitali gushi ambazo hata haziko mahali popote. Wao wanapata mabilioni ya pesa. St. Mary's imefungwa saa hii kwa sababu ya shilingi milioni 100 ambaye SHA imekataa kulipa. Niliwaambia kama Ruto angekuwa rais wakati mimi nazaliwa, angekuwa amekula St. Mary's tayari, mimi ningezaliwa msituni. Ningezaliwa kwa barabara huko, wangekuwa wananiita na Angila ama Waangila. Mudu alizaliwa kwa barabara, si ndio? So, tunataka tumuambie vile ambavyo wabunge wa kitaifa wamesema hapa. Sisi kwenye Senate hatuna nguvu ya kutimua waziri. Lakini tunataka kuwashinikiza nyinyi ambao mko kwa National Assembly. Najua signature ziko tayari. Huyu Duale, wakati mnatoka recess, muhakikishe mswada umeletwa, kwa sababu he must take political responsibility ya wizi ya pesa ya wananchi ambayo inafanyika pale kwenye SHA. Kina mama hapa vile imesemekana, kabla mtu afikishe shilingi 1,000 ama 5,000 hapa kwa soko, inamchukua muda mrefu sana. Alafu watu wamekaa huko tu, wamengoja kwa kompyuta. Wewe unaweka 1,000 hapa, wao wanaibia huko Nairobi. Ni haki kweli? Ni haki kweli? Kwa hivyo tunataka wale ambao wako katika Wizara ya Afya wakianzwa na Mheshimiwa Duale muwaondoe kwa sababu tuliwapa muda wa kujiondoa, wamekataa. Jambo la mwisho, mumesikia hapa vile viongozi wamesema 2022 mimi nilikuwa bado katibu wa chama. Tulikuwa hapo na Raila. Sisi kazi yetu ni kueleza ile mipango mzuri ambayo tunakuja kuwafanyia wananchi wa Kenya. Tuliwaambia tukishinda uchaguzi tutawapiga tao 6 kila mwezi. Mnakumbuka hiyo story? Mnakumbuka hiyo story? Baba akawaambia tukishinda uchaguzi kama wanaazimio, kusoma itakuwa bure kuanzia primary kwenda secondary kwenda university. Mnakumbuka hiyo story? Akatuambia baba akishinda uchaguzi matibabu itakuwa bure. Ile upande ingine Ruto hakuna kitu alikuwa anaeleza. Alikuwa anaenda akiimba tu hustler, bottom up. Ukimuuliza na hii kitu inamaanisha nini, hakuambii na hana time na wewe. Leo wanasema Waswahili, mkuki kwa nguruwe, kwa binadamu ni mchungu. Leo tunataka tumwambie Ruto 2027 hatuelezani mambo ya sera. Hata sisi vile wewe ulikuja ukisema hustler, sisi tunakuja tukiimba tu one term. Wacha kutuambia tueleze one term inamaanisha nini. Hata mtoto mdogo anajua one term inamaanisha nini, si ndio? Inamaanisha maliza uende. So kama unataka tukupatie details mingi, tutakupatia wakati tutakuwa State House. Tukifika hapo tutakuchorea tukuambie vile tunataka kufanya. Lakini kwa saa hii vile uliingia na slogan, tutakutoa na slogan. Hakuna mambo mingi. Na nataka niwaambie hawa viongozi ambao wamekaa hapa, hawa Kenya wakati wamepitisha katiba 2010, ukiangalia katiba ya Kenya tayari iko na manifesto ya ile serikali ambayo walikuwa wanataka. Mtu asikutishe hapa ati anatuuliza nyinyi mtajenga soko ngapi? Nani alikuambia tunataka soko? Sisi tunataka kuishi bwana. Hiyo soko unajengea maiti. Unapiga watu risasi mguu, alafu ajivuruta aingie kwa hiyo 12 law ya hii affordable housing unajenga hapa. Anajivuruta hivi. Hiyo ndio kazi ya kutujengea nyumba. Ukiuliza mama ya wale vijana ambao walipigwa risasi wakakufa, uulize mama ya huyo mtoto, wewe unataka tukurudishie kijana yako ama tutengeneze barabara hapa Funyula? Huyo mama atasema nini? Kati ya uhai ya mtoto na barabara gani muhimu? Si bora uhai. Kwa kama bali kukikona, lakini kukikona ne kulifwezi. Ne baba na base. Wewe mama wezi za mtoto umsomeshe, anaenda university ati apigwe risasi huko na mtu mwingine ambaye hajui huyo mtoto alitoka wapi. Kwa hivyo 2027 serikali ambaye tunataka ni ile ambaye iko ndani ya katiba. Serikali ambaye imejengwa juu ya misingi ya maadili 6 muhimu. Maadili ya kwanza ni kuheshimu haki za binadamu. Human rights number 1. Number 2, serikali ambaye itaongoza kulingana na demokrasia. Number 3, serikali ambaye itaheshimu uhuru wa wananchi wa kusema, wa kukusanyika jinsi ambavyo tumekusanyika na kukosoa viongozi. Si ati ukisema huyu kiongozi amekosa hapa unatumiwa Subaru hapa. Hatunachukuliwa na Subaru, unapelekwa unawawa katika kituo cha polisi. Hiyo mambo tunataka tuache nyuma. Na mwisho, tunataka kuwe na uhuru Kenya hii na heshima kwa maisha ya mwanadamu. Sisi tunataka tukomee hapo. Tuwashukuru kwa kutupa fursa hii ya kujumuika na nyinyi. Hatuchukulii hivi. Na naomba kwamba vile vikundi vyote ambao wamekuja hapa leo, sisi hatufanyi ile ukora ya empowerment ya kina Kindiki. Hii pesa mnatoka nayo hapa leo. Mnanielewa? Ule kijana ambaye aliitisha alikuwa anafanya fly farming, black fly farming, si ndio? Yuko wapi huyo mwanadada? Uliitisha ilikuwa stalls 4, si ndio? Haya, stalls 4 mheshimiwa Undo, hakikisha hawa vijana wapate hizo stalls 4. Kufikia mwisho ya wiki wakuwa wamejenga. Na nataka niwaambie nyinyi vijana muelewe vile kazi huwa inapatikana. Kama nchi haiweki mandhari ambaye investors wanaweza kuweka pesa zao hapo, hakuna mtu ataleta pesa yake hapa akijua akijenga kitu Kasongo atakuja amnyang'anye. Si wewe unajua hivyo? Inatakana tuwe na nchi ambaye inaheshimu mali ya kila mtu, inaheshimu sheria, ndio watu wapate nguvu ya kuleta investment hapa. Hapa mko na lake hapa. Mzungu anaweza kutoka huko nje akuje kuweka kiwanda cha kutengeneza samaki hapa. Kama akianza kutengeneza, pesa ikianza kuingia, kina Sudi watakuja wamuitishe wanataka shares. Haiwezekani mtu anyang'anywe mali yake hapa na ametoka mbali kuinvest. Kwa hivyo lazima